Today on Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on the big matchup coming up here in Week 6 of this 2021 college football season. And it'll be over the Penn State Nittany Lions and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Huge matchup coming up here this weekend. We got two undefeated teams going head-to-head in Week 6, and this is a game that will have big college football playoff implications looking forward. So that being said, we'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. Penn State last week beat Indiana 24-0, got a shutout last week against the Hoosiers. Overall, solid win for Penn State, and they're undefeated heading into this matchup. As for Iowa, they had a road game at Maryland. Many people were calling this game a potential trap game for Iowa, but Hawkeyes had no issues beating the Terps. 51-14 was the final score there. And Iowa is on fire heading into this matchup. Obviously, after a huge win like that, that's going to be a huge momentum booster for Iowa. But same thing for Penn State. I mean, both teams have got a lot of momentum heading into this matchup with undefeated records and overall pretty solid resumes for both of these teams. Like Penn State's beating both Auburn and Wisconsin. Both teams were ranked at the time that Penn State beat them both. And Iowa, of course, is beating Iowa State and Indiana, which Indiana at the time in Week 1 was actually ranked, I believe, number 17. So both teams have got some pretty strong resumes heading into this matchup. And with both teams being in the top 4, I mean, this is a very influential game on the college football playoffs. So the game will be on Saturday, October 9th, Iowa City, Iowa. Hawkeyes are the home team in this matchup, and it'll be at 3 p.m. Central Time. So we got an afternoon game at Kinnick Stadium. The spread currently has Hawkeyes by 2.5. Over-under is 42.5. So we got a very low line for the over-under at 42.5, which is expected. I mean, this is you got two extremely talented defenses going head-to-head in this matchup here, and your FPI is Iowa 59.2%. So Hawkeyes are favored in this matchup, but very slightly. Series history, Penn State leads at 17-13. Win streak is Hawkeyes by 1. Iowa did win the matchup last season. In the last 5 matchups, Penn State leads at 4-1. So overall, Nittany Lions have had more success in this series recently, although Iowa did win the last matchup in 2020, which of course, I mean, 2020 was just a crazy season looking back at it with Penn State. I mean, this was a Penn State team who was 0-5 at one point last season. So obviously things are much different here in 2021. Here's your stat comparison for this matchup. Penn State's got 30 points per game, 12 points allowed per game so far this season, 286 passing yards, 132 rushing yards, and then for yards allowed, 202 passing, 111 rushing. As for Iowa, 33 points per game, 11 points allowed, 184 pass yards a game, 126 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 184 passing, then 87 rushing. So obviously Iowa, I would probably say, has got the best defense in the Big Ten without a doubt, in my opinion, right now. I mean, you got Penn State, they've also got a great defense. Ohio State's got a good defense, but I mean, there's something about Iowa's defense that is outstanding. We've seen that so far this season. Iowa has, like, if you saw Iowa go up against Talia Tagovailoa, one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten last week with Maryland, I think Iowa picked him off 4 times in that game. I mean, this Iowa defense knows how to play. I mean, that's to say the least. This is a very talented Iowa defense, and for Penn State here, they got to play extremely well offensively if they want to beat Iowa. And a big part of that is going to be the turnover margin. I mean, Penn State, they've got to win the turnover margin here if they want any chance of winning, especially in a tough road game. Offensively, Penn State is without a doubt better in my opinion. I mean, Iowa's been getting better over the course of the season, but Penn State's offense is definitely more trustworthy than Iowa's offense. But at the same time, Iowa's defense is, I mean, they're just stellar. So you got to keep that in mind as well. But previous matchups for each of these teams, obviously Penn State beat Indiana there 24-0. Beat Villanova 38-17. Beat Auburn 28-20. That's shaping out to be quite a quality win. I mean, Auburn is a talented football team, so that was a impressive win there for Nittany Lions. They also beat Ball State 44-13. Beat Wisconsin on the road 16-10, which was a huge win at the time. Wisconsin is kind of struggling right now, but I mean, still in Week 1 to get a road win like that. I mean, Penn State knows how to win on the road. As for Iowa, they beat Maryland on the road, 51-14. Colorado State, that was a scary game. Colorado State kept it very close. It should not have been anywhere near as close as it was, but Iowa still got the win. Kent State, 30-7. They won that one. They beat Iowa State, 27-17. Beat Indiana, 34-6 as well. So those first 2 wins really catapulted Iowa into the top 10, as they should have. I mean, those are 2 very excellent wins. But At the same time, I mean, if you look at Iowa State and Indiana now, I mean, they have completely dropped out of the top 25. I mean, Indiana's looking terrible so far this season. Iowa State still's got decent talent, but I mean, Iowa, I mean, this is a team that played extremely well against Indiana, which they should have considering where Indiana's at right now. But I mean, overall, I mean, Iowa, this could be a huge win for them, and both teams really need this win to boost their resumes. Here's some key points for this one. Both teams are 5-0. Iowa's ranked 3rd. Penn State is ranked number 4. Penn State's got 3 quality wins on their schedule, once again with Auburn, Wisconsin, and Indiana. All 3 of those wins are definitely quality wins in my opinion. Sean Clifford playing at his highest level. I think he's playing as well as he just about ever has at Penn State, and that's huge. I mean, last season kind of had a down year. He wasn't playing his best in 2020, but this year he's playing pretty well. So that's a huge part of this offense without a doubt, and they got to keep the turnover margin in check for sure. Sean Clifford cannot throw 4 interceptions and expect to win this game. Like Talia Tagovailoa, that did not go too well for him last week when they went up against Iowa. So overall, I mean, Iowa's a defense that's going to force turnovers, and I wouldn't be surprised to see an interception or 2 from Iowa in this matchup. But I mean, for Penn State here, you got to defensively, you got to play well, but offensively, especially going up against a brutal Iowa defense, you got to really play well from start to finish. As for Iowa, defense is easily the best in the Big Ten. Offensively, he's only getting better. That's why the Hawkeyes are a scary team right now, is because you got a defense which is already stellar, one of the best in the nation. And then you've got an offense that at the beginning of the season, and I mean really throughout, I mean, they just have not, they're not the best offense. I'm just going to put it up to you just like that. Spencer Petras is probably not a top 15 quarterback in the nation. I mean, he's got potential to be, but he's not that right now. But the thing is, we saw him last week going up against Maryland. I mean, this offense is definitely improving, and we're seeing an offense that is improving at a rapid pace. And if this Iowa offense can continue to improve, like, this Iowa team could win a national championship this year without a doubt. I mean, it sounds crazy right now, but Iowa, this team is a national contender right now, and so this is a crucial game for them. And so offensively, you got to keep that going. But for Penn State, I mean, Penn State's also a national contender. Both these teams, the winner of this game will be ranked number 3, obviously, which I was already number 3. But, I mean, this will be a huge win for both these teams. You got both teams that are capable of winning titles this season. I mean, that's why it's such an interesting matchup. But anyway, let's get into the prediction for this matchup. This was a brutal one to pick, but I got to go with Penn State here, 20-17. I'm going with the underdog here, Penn State, to get the win in this matchup by 3. It is going to be very close. I mean, this was a brutal one to pick, and you Iowa fans are going to be going off on me in the comment section. I can guarantee it. But Penn State, this is a football team that I just trust more right now. I mean, Iowa's got an excellent defense without a doubt, but offensively, I trust Penn State without a doubt more than Iowa right now. Iowa's offense played very well against Maryland, but Penn State's offense is more consistent right now. They've got definitely the better quarterback, in my opinion, with Sean Clifford. And Penn State offensively, I trust more than Iowa's offense, and I think that Penn State wins the turnover margin, and they're going to keep those turnovers to a low number, which is definitely crucial in winning this game for Penn State, because, I mean, Iowa's done so well with getting points off of turnovers this season. So, yeah, 2017 is my prediction. 51% is my probability. So that's as close as it gets. I mean, this was basically a coin toss for me because you got Iowa at home as well. I mean, if Penn State was at home, it'd be a little easier to pick Penn State, but Iowa's also at home. They've got a great home field advantage, and we've seen some big upsets in Iowa City in the past, but got to go with Penn State here. 20-17 is my prediction for the final score. Over-under is 42.5. I'm actually taking the under here. I think this is a very defensive game. It will be very close from start to finish. Potentially, we see a game-winning field goal out of Penn State. So, yeah, it's going to be a very close game, and should make for a great one in Iowa City this weekend. But once again, got to go with Nittany Lions here in a very close game. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game, and I appreciate you guys all watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys all later.